So now we're going to look at how you answer that big 16-mark question at the end of your paper. Remember that you only answer questions 6 or 7, don't do both of them. Okay, so this one will ask you to look at a specific area of change. So for example, this question asks you to think about how religion influenced the attitude of the authorities when they were thinking about change. There will always be a specific time period in the question, and you need to make sure that you focus on this and that your answer always reflects the time period. You also, as ever, need to make sure you're talking about change and how the specific area that's been identified has changed over that time. It will also ask you to explain your answer, okay? That's really, really important. You can put as many examples in as you like and it'll be a lovely answer, but you can't get those higher marks if you don't explain what you're talking about. There will also be some facts and information for you to use as a starting point in the question. And remember, this has got 16 marks, so it's going to take you about 16 minutes to answer. So we need to look at the question carefully. As I said before, you need to make sure you identify which specific area this is asking you to think about. So this one is religion. You then need to look at which time period it's asking you to look at. Importantly, you need to remember that you're discussing both change and continuity. So you need to think about what things stayed the same as well as what changed during this time period related to religion. And of course, you can use those facts as a prompt to help you. Okay, now let's look at the mark scheme. So to get a level 1, you would make a simple statement about the change. But we're not going to get a level 1. We're going to get at least a level 2 or a level 3. So you need to make sure that you're doing what it says. You're using terminology, so those subject-specific words, okay? So think about words that are linked to religion for this question, like heresy. That's a really good word to use here. You also need to think about how you're going to link these things together and make sure that you say a statement about change and continuity. Remember that you need to think about the way that you're writing for this question because there are 3 spag marks. Okay, so to get a level 3 or 4, we need to be thinking carefully about analysis and how we're going to analyse that change. We do this in the explanation part of our PEE paragraphs. So you need to explain how the piece of evidence that you've included shows that religion helped to change attitudes towards crime. You need to make sure that you are always linking back to the question at the end of every single paragraph. And then in your conclusion, you need to summarise what you said and again, link that back to the question with your argument in it. To get a level 3 and 4, you also need to be using your own knowledge as well as the examples have been given you. You cannot get into these higher levels and these higher marks if you don't do that. So here's an example of a conclusion that you can pause the video and read if you want to. You need to make sure, again, it's quite obvious here that you need to make sure that you include that time period in your conclusion and that you summarise your arguments. The conclusion is one of the most important bits of your question and making sure that you're getting that analysis in there so you can get those higher levels. Okay, well, good luck with your exam. I'm sure you'll be fine, and make sure you watch all the other revision videos.